Hello fellow militants, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to talk about Star Wars and Solo. I guess it was the same thing because Solo is under Star Wars, Disney Star Wars. Anyways, um, I know I'm kind of like late to the party that this story dropped I want to say like last week I want to say, but I'm still going to cover it. And it says, um, uh, I'm on gamer rant or game rant. I'm sorry, and it says Kathleen Kennedy says Star Wars roles won't be recasted like in Solo. Immediately I've heard some things about this, and story, and I'm going to read it before I give my official thoughts. Um, as a little background on Solo, Solo was supposed to be an origin story of Han Solo, practically. I think Solo was a fun movie, and I will stand with that comment. I think it was a fun movie. Oh, for the most part. Episode 3 was the worst part of that movie because she was annoying as hell. Even my sister, who's not a Star Wars fan like I am, she said to me, that droid was so annoying. So if it annoyed a casual viewer like my sister, who watched it as a way to bond with her brother more, that's saying a lot. I think Aldenreich, he did a pretty decent job as Han Solo. Um, Donald Glover did a good job as Lando. I mean, nothing can beat the originals, of course, but I think they were pretty good. I think all the actors were pretty good in their roles, in my opinion. But like I said, it was a fun movie. L3 was the worst part, but as a Star Wars movie, it was eh. So, yeah. Anyways, let's get into this game rant article, shall we? Solo Star Wars story provided the background of the iconic character Lando Calrissian. They have a picture of Han and Lando, and like the original actors and the new actors. So I was kind of looking at Lando when I read that. I apologize. Solo Star Wars story provided the background of the iconic character Han Solo, but the film did not go as well as Disney had hoped. Now, okay, and part of the reason was because it was coming like 6 months after. I don't want to say six, like about 5 months after Last Jedi. And the Last Jedi, there was this like division in the Star Wars um, community, whether or not the Last Jedi was a good movie or a bad movie. There was a division. Essentially, birthed the fandom menace, essentially, and part of the reason why Geeks and Gamers got the boost when they did. I'm a fan of Geeks and Gamers, so just saying. There's a shout out. If you guys dislike what Disney has done to Star Wars, subscribe to Geeks and Gamers and the respective channels of the members that are make up Geeks and Gamers. There's my shout out. So now President Kathleen Kennedy has commented on the lessons learned from the disappointing response to the Star Wars anthology flick. Disney has tried their darnest to expand the Star Wars universe through prequels and spin-offs for the past several years. With how many properties they've released over the past few years, they had to anticipate that not everything would go swimmingly. While the critical reception for Solo was okay, it went to the lowest grossing film in the Star Wars franchise, or as Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers like to say, Hashtag Solo lost money. The lack of return the lack of return proved to be a massive setback for Disney goals of expanding Star Wars. And like I said, it was coming off of The Last Jedi. It was coming off The Last Jedi. Plus, out there was annoying. So, like, we probably got around that they had a really annoying droid that kept on yelling every 5 seconds, "Droid, right." And I feel like the most part was outranks the second reason, but you can probably say it ties to the first. Nobody asked for a Solo movie. Nobody wanted a Han Solo movie. If this was a TV show, then probably would have done better. But nobody wanted a Han Solo movie. So that was a major contributor to its failure as well. Anyways, Kennedy recently reflected on what she at Disney learned from the experience with Vanity Fair. Most notably, what she learned in the recasting isn't as easy as it sounds, especially when it comes to a character with a popularity that Han Solo has possessed for half a century now. In her interview, Kennedy acknowledged that she learned a lesson from Solo's Star Wars story when trying to expand the Star Wars universe by getting new and younger actors to try to capture the spirit of the iconic characters. There should be moments along the way when you learn. Now it does seem so abundantly clear that we can't do that, Kennedy said. Okay, before I continue the article, freaking prequels, like Phantom Menace to Attack of Clones to the Revenge of the Sith. They had younger actors. They had different actors to play Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker. They had two different actors to play Anakin Skywalker. Granted that both of them got criticism, which I think that's unfair, but still. I don't think recasting is the issue here. I seriously don't. Because, yeah, you could, like, somebody probably gonna clip this and try to use at their point that maybe Solo Star Wars story will be beloved in the future. But that's not the point I'm trying to make. The prequels, yeah, it got some backlash. It got some criticism at first. But the prequels is a lot like, sure, there might be some fans that not most of a fan of the prequels as they are the original trilogy, but the prequels has more fans than the sequels and Solo. I do believe Jake Lloyd did a good job as Anakin Skywalker. Hayden Christensen did a good job as Anakin Skywalker. Ian McGregor did a really good job of Obi-Wan Kenobi. The girl who played Mon Mothma in the prequels and in Solo Star Wars story, where she's going to be Mon Mothma in Cassian Andor. I think she was pretty good as Mon Mothma in the prequels and Rogue One. I can't say anything about Cassian Andor yet because that hasn't come out yet, but I'm pretty sure she would do a good job of being Mon Mothma in that show too, based on what I've seen. I'm trying to think of if there's any characters that we've seen play younger characters. Ian McGregor, he was Emperor Palpatine in Return of the Jedi. Ian McCormick, or the guy who played Darth Sidious, the Emperor, he played a younger version of Palpatine in the prequels. And he wasn't the original actor who played Palpatine. That was the original Palpatine and the original version of the actor who played Palpatine in the original version of Empire Strikes Back wasn't the same guy who did the Emperor in Return of the Jedi in the prequels. It was a different guy. And then the special edition came along and they replaced the actors to make it more consistent. But still, he did a good job. So I don't think recasting roles is recasting people to be younger version of the characters what's the issue with Solo. But I'll continue this rant after I complete the article. Though all the miscues and obstacles they had to face since the very beginning, Star Wars is still a very popular film franchise with a fiercely loyal and arguably toxic fan base. It makes sense why those at Lucasfilm would try to explore every avenue they can to expand the story. It should comfort the fans that Kennedy is acknowledging that they made a mistake in the past and would have vowed to learn from them instead of doubling down and blaming the fans for how things turned out. Sure, she acknowledged that pretty much like Solo lost money now, but she is getting the wrong message. Like I said, it wasn't the recasting that was the issue. Again, I will explain after I'm done reading this article. Whether you like Solo's Star Wars story or not, one thing's for sure. These days, it's clear that Disney can't just slap Star Wars on any property and fully expect it to succeed. For one thing, Star Wars isn't Marvel. Even Marvel has its lousy movies. Eternals and Captain Marvel. They were pretty lousy movies. Black Widow was a bit better than both movies, but it was still when it comes to Marvel standards. So Marvel can just screw up too. I just listed like 3 different ways. Not to mention some of their TV shows that they release on Disney Plus. I personally not a fan of all the Disney Plus shows that Marvel has put out, but that's just me. Anyways, where was I? Oh, there we go. When the franchise started, it was supposed to be a 6-episode story with a few animated series to fill in the gap. Disney then changed the formula and made it a cinematic universe when the fans weren't ready for that kind of change. It's especially hard since the new trilogy, while financially profitable, was not anonymously received well by the fan base, so they got into every property within a little skepticism. The sequel trilogy was a hot mess. The Force Awakens was a good starter, even though it was a carbon copy of the New Hope. Last Jedi kind of pooped on the Force Awakens, and Rise of Palpatine, as I like to call Episode 9, kind of pooped on The Last Jedi. The Resistance show, which is the animated show that they probably mentioned, and Rebels. Rebels was a pretty decent show, especially within the first 2 seasons, especially in the second season. Resistance was, and I'm happy it got canceled because it was a hard series to watch as a Star Wars fan for like 15 years now. Which was before, it was when I got into Star Wars, there were only 6 Star Wars movies. And then shortly after the Clone Wars movie and show came out, so I definitely grew up on the prequels and Clone Wars. Anyways, where Lucasfilm and Disney go from here, following the Solo's failure, is what fans should certainly keep an eye on. It's great that Kennedy and those running Star Wars acknowledge that they made a mistake. their mistakes. Now they need to prove that they've learned from them. In the past few years, it has felt like Star Wars has overcompensated with the movies and shows they've given fans since 2015. With any luck, the not so great reception to them will show executives that it's the franchise original quality that got fans to be invested in the story, not the quantity of the material they were getting. I feel like we could easily get a Star Wars movie each year, kind of like how we get a Marvel movie each year, and still love the Star Wars movies. Like how we were, like fans were, for the most part, enjoying the Marvel movies from Iron Man to to Endgame, for the most part. But the thing that Star Wars has a problem was that the writing isn't all too good for the most part, really. Like, the sequel trilogy, like I said, kind of felt like each movie that came after the sequel trilogy put on the one before it. And it wasn't really, the sequel trilogy wasn't fully thought out yet. Really wasn't fully thought out. You can criticize the prequels all you want. And believe me, as a prequels fan, because the prequels is my favorite, there is stuff in the prequels you can criticize. I'll admit. But it's less than the sequels, I feel. And one thing that you cannot criticize is that the prequels did not have an overall plan. Because the prequels had an overall plan. Some of the execution may be been weird on George Lucas' end. But for the most part, I feel like the prequels are good. Of course, I have the Clone Wars who prop the prequels up nicely, even more. Both Clone Wars versions, the one that had 2 volumes and the one that has Ahsoka, both, in my opinion, propped up the sequels nicely as well. But saying that the prequels didn't have a plan, that's one thing that you cannot say about the prequels, because they actually did have an overall plan. Some of the execution might have been weird, but the overall plan, you could see the overall plan. The sequel, you can't really see the overall plan, because literally at like last minute, Rey was a Palpatine. Because I remember hearing rumors, is Rey a Palpatine? Is Rey a Kenobi? Is she, I mean, not Palpatine, is Rey a Skywalker? Kenobi? Or nobody? And then, like, it was confirmed in episode, like, 8 that she was a nobody, but then, after that, before episode 9 came along, said, was Spank, fooling, messing with Rey's head? Was he telling her that she was a nobody when she really was? And he knew who she was? And of course, Rise of Skywalker kind of misled it, because we all thought that was going to be Rise of Skywalker, which made me think Rey was an actual Skywalker when she isn't. She just stole the name Skywalker. But getting back to the main article about Solo. The thing about Solo is that the issue wasn't recasting Han and Lando to be younger versions, like hiring younger actors to play Han and Lando in their prime. That wasn't an issue. Because like I said earlier, Ian McGregor, Jake Lloyd, Hayden Christensen all did wonderful in their respective roles. And I have no doubt in the Kenobi series that lands this Friday, Ian McGregor is going to be good as Obi-Wan. And which reminds me, even Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen got recasted with younger people in the prequels. And I've heard that they're gonna be well, I it was confirmed at least with Uncle Owen in the trailers of Kenobi that Uncle Owen's gonna be in Kenobi. I've heard rumors that Aunt Beru's gonna be in Kenobi as well. And both actors who played Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru did a good job in Attack of the Clones. The 5 seconds that we see them in Attack of the Clones, and the 3 seconds that we saw them in like Revenge of the Sith. And I'm over exaggerating about the second part, so don't you guys come to me saying they're in Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith longer? Because again, I'm not like I'm over exaggerating. Revenge of the Sith, they were in there for like 15 seconds, and Attack of the Clones, they were there for like 5 minutes. So again, I think Star Wars. One thing Star Wars doesn't have an issue with is recasting younger people to fill in legacy characters roles. Guess like I said, Uncle Owen, Aunt Beru, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, I don't know the actors who play Aunt Beru or Uncle Owen, but still, Aunt Beru, Uncle Owen, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, Mon Mothma, all of them were recasted. The actors who portrayed the younger versions of those characters in the prequels did great. So it was the issue with Solo was why I brought in this sequels as to try to use that as an example. Was like the writing was kind of off, and especially due to like Solo getting 90% written, getting kind of fired. The people who originally wrote Solo, by a new person, had to rewrite like most of the script. It was costing money, which is why part of the reason why Solo lost money. And yeah, it was just the story. I do believe that the acting was good. The story was but the acting was good. And I'll stand by that. And like I said, Solo is one of the best Star Wars. Like, Solo is a fun Star Wars. Blah 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 blah. Time to say fun Star Wars, like say fun Star Wars movie. Rogue One was more of a fun Star Wars movie than Solo is, but taking Star Wars out of it, Solo was a fun movie. It was. If it did not connect to its Star Wars, I feel like people would not be as frustrated with the movie and would be better received. But Solo did lose money. Solo is connected to Star Wars, and it's like one of the weakest Star Wars movies ever. Now for me, it's not the worst Star Wars movie. The worst Star Wars movie is the holiday special that came out after A New Hope, which at the time A New Hope was just called Star Wars. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go on YouTube, type in Star Wars Holiday Special, and sit through it. You guys will see what I'm talking about. It's like, for me, it's the worst Star Wars movie. And I'll stand by, that's a hill I'm willing to die on, too. But yeah, it's, Star Wars, I love Star Wars, especially the George Lucas era, and I do want it to be handled right. Just, if this is the takeaway Kathleen Kennedy is taking it, like, oh, we won't get recasted, then she's learning the wrong lesson. Because I would have, like, much rather them recasting Leia in Rise of Skywalker than CGIing her. And even though I said in a recent video that I did enjoy Tarkin in Rogue One. Part of me kind of would have preferred seeing Tarkin getting recasted as well, because yeah, there were times where I could tell that was CGI face, and it kind of felt weird. So, like I said, recasting the characters wasn't the issue with Solo. It was writing the story, firing the creator or the directors or whatever that made like 90% of the movie in mid production, then get a rewrite, and then finishing the movie from there. Which was the type of story that most Star Wars fans, I feel, were like, about. Plus, it just came after Solo. I mean, it just came after The Last Jedi, too, so. That's just me. So. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with Game Rant? Or do you guys disagree with Game Rant? Let me know in the comment section down below. Love you all. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another. And may the force be with us all.